Hello, this is Amy from Butter Cake, and I'm going to show you how I make my cream cheese sugar cookie dough. Super simple. Get started with room temperature butter and cream cheese. Those are going to go in your bowl. It's okay if you don't have a stand mixer. You can also use a hand mixer. Don't forget sugar, and I put my baking powder and vanilla in during the creaming stage because it helps make sure that it gets evenly dispersed. I feel like if you add those ingredients in later, sometimes it doesn't get where it needs to go. So anyways, I got those in and I put it on medium speed, creamed it for a little bit. Then I'm just taking a moment to scrape my bowl and paddle really well. This helps to ensure that nothing gets stuck to the bottom of the bowl and everything's really evenly dispersed. But so just take a moment to do that really in any recipe that you're doing. And then you can go ahead and put it back on medium speed. You want to cream it basically until you don't see any lumps of cream cheese. That's really important. The cream cheese, even when it's softened, tends to kind of try to stay together. It bands together with itself. So make sure you break it down. And there's me just kind of checking the smoothness. Looks pretty good. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in the egg. There's only one large egg in this recipe, which is really nice because eggs are ridiculously expensive if you have eyes and you go to the grocery store. So just one in this recipe. But I added that, again, medium speed, and then I'm stopping to scrape the bowl really well. We just want to have a nice, even cookie dough, make sure everything gets evenly dispersed in there before we add in our flour. So scrape your bowl really well with a nice rubber spatula. Then you're going to add in just all-purpose flour. That's it. All-purpose flour works really well. Here I'm doing a little pulsing thing. If you have a KitchenAid, you can kind of just tap it to one and turn it off, and that kind of helps prevent a lot of the flour from flying out of the bowl. I just have it on low speed there, mixing just until it comes together. It's going to be kind of a tacky, shaggy dough. You can see it doesn't look like a really uniform dough. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. It should stick to your fingers. And then you're just going to want to get out some plastic wrap. Yes, you have to chill the dough. I guess I just recommend it because if you don't chill the dough, it's way too soft to work with, and it's going to stick to absolutely everything. So just put in some plastic wrap, or if you have a 1 gallon freezer Ziploc baggie, that works too, whatever you got on hand. So I'm just scraping out my bowl really well. We don't want to waste any of that cookie dough. Make sure we're getting it all out there. And then, just putting the other half on top. And then I'm kind of just doing this. I'm grabbing the bottom piece of plastic wrap and pulling up and then pinching it with the top piece and then just kind of tugging and compressing, just so that we can kind of get it into a rectangular shape, but you don't have to get your hands dirty at all at this stage. Because again, it's a very sticky dough. So I'm just trying to get it nice and tucked in there and then wrap it fully. My saran wrap has a nice little plastic cutter there. Love those. Flip it over and there you go. You can see it's a nice rectangle. Love that. Just smush it. Make sure all the cookie dough is really nice and compact, and that can go into your refrigerator for at least an hour, but you can leave it in there overnight or for a couple of days, or even freeze your cookie dough for long periods of time. You can freeze it up to a month. You just want to defrost it for at least, a day in the refrigerator before you try to use it again. When it is nice and chilled though, and you're ready to roll it out, have a nice clean work surface, and we're going to liberally coat with some more of just all-purpose flour. You can break a hunk off. It's going to be cold. It's still going to be slightly sticky. So what you're going to see me do is use a lot of flour, and that's okay. That's what I love about this dough. The cream cheese really helps prevent a lot of that overproduction of gluten. It keeps it nice and tender. So great. Whoever came up with the idea to add cream cheese to sugar cookie dough, I love you. You're amazing. But yeah, you're going to see me just keep checking my dough. I'm changing directions and I'm making sure nothing is sticking. So it helps to pick it up and move it, not just to roll it out into a nice even disc, but also just to make sure that, none of my cookie dough is getting stuck to my countertop at all. And so then I'm just rolling it out basically. Oh, you can see I checked it there. Yep. No stickage. Looks good on the bottom. So at this point, I start out rolling it out with like some firm pressure. And then when you get to this point, just very light pressure. You're just basically rolling your hands and fingers over the rolling pin just to get it to like a nice uniform thickness. There I have a little cookie cutter. You're welcome to use any cookie cutter you like. Just put some extra flour on your countertop and just dust the edges there. You can see I'm swishing it around to coat the edges with flour to help prevent sticking when I cut out my cookie dough. Just give it a little firm pressure. Make sure you hit the counter. Give it a little shake to let you know you cut all the way through. And there you go. Pull that out. You can see it's pretty thick, about a 1/4 inch thick for sugar cookies if you're going to decorate them. Yeah, that looks good. And that's about a 4-inch size cookie. So that's a pretty hefty one. You can obviously do any size cookies you want with this dough. But when you have scraps, go ahead and just roll them up, and then you can add more of the chilled cookie dough and apply more flour, just pressing down firmly there to try and get it flattened out a little bit. And I'm going to roll it out again. Just kind of picking it up, moving it, turning it, making sure everything is moving around. We don't want any stickage at all. And the nice thing about this is even though you added flour to the previous scraps that you rolled out before, it's not going to harm the dough. This dough is really, really protective of itself. That didn't really make sense, but okay. Anyways, so here I'm just taking my time, trying to get an even thickness. You don't have to rush. Really get a feel for the dough as far as rolling it out, making sure that's even, because you want all your cookies to be the same thickness. Obviously, if they're different thicknesses, they will bake for different amounts of time. And if you have any kind of cookie cutters that have like little pieces, like the stem on the pumpkin there, you can see I'm just very gently easing that out. And there we have another size of pumpkin. Yeah, so fun stuff. Oh, I'm just gently easing it out there. There we go. And then brushing the excess flour off the top. Extra flour on the dough is fine, except when you want to bake it, obviously. Some of that flour might not, it won't bake off. So brush it off before you bake it. And there I am just kind of trying to figure out which way this cookie cutter is going to cut. Obviously, rolling the dough out as few times as possible saves you time. So make your cookie cutters fit in there however possible. And then I got them on my cookie sheet. I have a cell pad on there and I fit about 8 comfortably. Now these cookies, they spread a tiny bit, but not a lot. So you can actually fit a decent amount of these large cookies on your cookie sheet. Here I'm cutting some smaller pieces, and I just want to show you, I'm looking at that one, and it's too thick, so I'm just going to throw it off to the side. I wasn't happy with that one at all. And just didn't cut the mark. So then I'm rolling out a little bit thinner and checking it again. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, I think that one's good. Brush it off a little bit. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so check your cookies. Take your time with it. You don't have to rush. You want the cookies to be as well-shaped as possible at this point, because if they're lopsided or you mess anything up, the oven's not going to magically fix it. It will come out baked lopsided, and we really don't want that. These are smaller size, obviously. Nice little scalloped round cookie cutter that I'm using for a different project. So with these, I'm not baking them right away. I'm going to put them into the freezer. If you're going to cut out cookies and freeze them, you can actually just put them with no spacing on a cookie sheet and pop them right into your freezer. and let them get really firm. And then you can put them into a container, an airtight container. I like to use gallon freezer bags, and just put those in the freezer then with paper in between. Oh, they're baked. Okay. So those look beautiful. Once you bake these, what you want to look for doneness, you see all those little tiny cracks all over the entire surface. It's very subtle. But when I see those little tiny hair-like cracks all over, I know that they're done. And that the surface is just a really even color on top. If it's slightly gray in the center still when you take it out of the oven, then it's not done. These, if you don't bake them long enough, obviously they will have a little bit of a raw taste. I mean, they're still technically usable, but you want to make sure you bake them long enough. There I'm just showing you the center, nice even cooking, and they brown just slightly on the bottom, not a whole lot. They're just a very pale cookie, which makes them great for decorating overall.